Ms. Andre Lise Mathot was appointed to the Infrastructure Bank by yourself in December 2022. You're well aware of the governance issues at SDTC, on which she was a board member. Just late last year, Ms. Mathot admitted that she was on the board and present when money was approved to go to 4 companies in which she held a financial interest. I'm just curious, why is this the kind of ethical standard that you expect your board members that you appoint? And have you asked her for clarification or to maybe resign her position from the Infrastructure Bank?
What we have seen consistently from the Conservatives is an attack on efforts by our government to drive investments into the Canadian economy, investments made
Minister,
by
someone
the
admitted
Infrastructure
to a
Bank,
very serious ethical breach and a conflict of
through
interest.
our ITCs, and it would be great to see the Conservatives get behind
Minister,
these measures that
someone
will
has
create
admitted
growth.
to a very serious ethical breach and a conflict of interest, who now is still on the board of the Infrastructure Bank and reports to you. You appointed that person. Do you still have confidence in her to perform her duties well?
Our government has been very clear about SDTC and the fact that what we saw happening there was unacceptable, and our government has taken action.
So you still have confidence in Ms. Mathot?
Thank you, Minister.
I now want to move on to our our GDP per capita, which I think is a pretty important issue here. And so this is the GDP per capita. The blue line is the United States over the last decade or so. The red line is Canada. And you see this gap appearing around 2014, 2015, and it's quite a large gap. And that's incredibly important. That's incredibly important because that underpins the economic well-being of every Canadian. And this gap is expanding. And so could you please tell Canadians why they are getting poorer while Americans are getting richer?
Point of order. Chair, I'm not sure if the rules here are the same as in the House, but my understanding in the House is that we're not allowed to use props, and so I just wanted to ask if you could rule on that.
We're going to just suspend, and I'll confer with the clerk. Will be our last questioner, MP
Point of order,
Weiler.
Mr. Chair. I won't speak anymore, but could you give the Minister 15 seconds to comment on that, please?
The Minister, if you'd like 15 seconds, and then we'll be going to MP Weiler.
I'll just say 2 things super quickly. We all want jobs and growth. The way to get jobs and growth is to pass Bill C-59. This includes essential ITCs, which, like, I was in Calgary last Friday. Industry leaders, Alberta industry leaders said to me, why the heck can't you get those measures passed into law? It makes me quite sad to say it's because of Conservative MPs that we can't do it. So let's just get together on this. Let's pass these measures.
Minister, how much has the government collected in carbon taxes since you implemented it?
I didn't hear the last question. The last part of the question. How much has the government
collected in carbon taxes since it was implemented?
So thanks for the question, and it gives me an opportunity to be really clear about the price on pollution. This is revenue neutral. All the money that is collected,
it was a pretty specific
all
question.
The money that is
just
collected
the number, how much
goes back directly to Canadians.
I only have limited time,
Minister.
Minister.
That is the key point.
How much has your government collected in carbon taxes?
Also an opportunity for me to point out that Manitoba families will be getting $1,200 this year.
Again, Minister, if I could just have the number, how much have you collected in carbon taxes?
The key point, which Conservatives consistently are trying to keep from Canadians, is that the price on pollution is completely revenue neutral.
Minister, it's a
the
very
money
straightforward
does
question.
not go
Canadians
in.
want the answer
The money
to.
does not go into general revenues. It is returned to Canadians.
What is the dollar value of all carbon taxes collected since the tax was implemented?
The key point is that is money in the pockets of Canadians. For Manitoba families this year, it's going to be $1,200. That is making a real difference.
Just the number, Minister. How much has the government actually collected in carbon taxes?
As I said, the key point is it's all money that goes back to Canadians. It goes back to your constituents, my constituents, Daniel's constituents.
With the greatest of respect, it's not
Mr.
revenue
Halland's
neutral. In fact, the
It is
estimates,
revenue neutral.
no, the Minister, the estimates say that you refuse to answer giving accurate information, Minister. The government's own financial documents, your main estimates show that you've collected $20.7 billion in carbon taxes and has only paid out $18.6 billion since the carbon tax took effect. Oh, your government has collected over $2 billion out of the pockets of Canadians since the tax was implemented that you have not paid back. That's from your own main estimate. So will you correct the record and
Mr.
admit
Moritz,
the truth?
no, it is 100% revenue neutral, and I'm
Are you
glad.
saying the main estimates are wrong?
I am saying that is money that
just-
is being held for small businesses, and small businesses will have good news soon because that money is going to be returned to them, as we have committed to from day one.
Okay. You know, you mentioned that Premier...
That's just
how
true.
much-
And I do want to thank Winnipeg's
Sorry,
own
it's-
Dan Kelly for the work that he's been doing with us on that.
Dan Kelly completely disagrees with you. But aside from that, you mentioned what a great job Premier Canoe is doing. You know, Premier Canoe, when he got elected, and he's an NDP premier, we disagree on many, many things, but he recognized that Manitobans are suffering with the high cost of living. You know the very first thing that he did when he got into office? He cut the provincial gas tax by 14 cents. And he said it's because Manitobans are having trouble affording just to live. Why are you increasing the carbon tax at the very time Canadians are experiencing an affordability crisis, unlike what Premier Canoe has done?
So there's a lot we disagree on, but I'm glad we can agree that Premier Canoe is off to an excellent start as
So
the
will
leader
you follow his
of
example
Manitoba.
then and pause the increase in the carbon tax?
One of the things I admire about his leadership is his commitment to a climate plan for Manitoba, because he knows that is an essential foundation of
But why won't
attracting
you follow
investment
his example
and good
and
jobs
actually
in Manitoba?
take the jackboots off the necks of Canadians?
I must say that language is entirely inappropriate when we're talking about a democracy.
Well-
I began by talking about Prime Minister Mulroney and the exceptional courage he showed in recognizing Ukrainian independence. There are people in the world right now who do have real dictatorships oppressing them, like the people of Ukraine. And to use that language, talking about a government policy you disagree with, is entirely inappropriate and cheapens our discourse and our democracy.